transformational healing. So today we're understanding your emotions. Understanding your emotions. The theme is going to be triggers reveal where healing is needed. Trigger reveals where healing is needed. In my book, Trinity Walk to Self-Love, I have a chapter in there that talks about triggers. It is on Walmart, Barnes & Noble, and Amazon website. It is Trinity Walk to Self-Love. And triggers identify the things that are the roadblocks in your life that causes you to go over the edge, that causes you to act out, right? In that second hand. We talked about that. There is the primary emotion and then the secondary emotion. The secondary emotion causes you to act a fool, meaning that you don't put the right emotions. You don't, the right name to the emotion, meaning that you're hurt instead of you saying you're sad, you act out of anger. And that's what I was teaching the other day. So with emotional triggers, our emotional triggers are our teacher. During the healing process, those are the type, hey, love, during the healing journey, you identify things and you start to notice things. These are triggers. Every time this happened, I feel like this. And every time that happened, I feel like this. Those are what triggers are. Those are where you can create the gray area. Before you spaz out and go ready to knock somebody upside their head, what I want you to do is dial back. I want you to dial back a little bit. I want you to think, take time and peace. But emotional triggers teach us by acting as urgent signals, pointing to unresolved past, pain, fears, or core beliefs. Okay? Let that sink in. I want y'all to get this. Thank y'all for the like, shares, and the follow. Come on in. Emotional triggers teach us by acting as urgent signals, pointing to unresolved past, pain, fears, or core beliefs. It reveals patterns in our reactions and pushes us to develop what? Self-awareness. So that's the whole thing. Your triggers will eventually reveal the pattern and it'll teach us self-awareness. That's the part of healing that I'm teaching you. Once you start to heal, you'll start to notice that. So pain points are not weaknesses. What is pain points? What does that even mean? When someone says pain points. See, a lot of the times they tell you to go heal, but they don't teach you what things are so you can identify and put it in the places it needs to be, or it can help you develop and become the best version of you. You know, they don't give you that far. They give you like, you need to go heal, but how do I heal? You need to get a therapist. Okay, then you get a therapist and you still feel lost because you don't know what you need to tell the therapist. Do I tell them everything or do I tell them this or what do I tell them? Well, I'm going to teach you how to self-heal. Now, everything is not, you can self-heal. Some things you need therapy. In this video, when I upload it on YouTube, I'm going to have a hotline that'll help you find a therapist and help you in the needs that you need. I got you. Don't worry about it. But pain points are specific situations that activate deep, unresolved past wounds or unmet needs. This is why you're, as an adult, going through the things that you're going through. Because you have some pain points. I'm just trying to get some light notes. So the pain points are specific situations that activate deep, unresolved past wounds or unmet needs. This causes intense emotional and sometimes physical reactions. Those pain points can tear you down and it causes physical reactions. It is not your weakness. I don't ever want you to think of it as your weakness. Like, oh, that's a pain point. That's where I'm vulnerable at. You know, someone can, they can see me in my most vulnerable state and they can attack or this, that. That's not what it is. In healing, you identify your pain points and you realize it's not a weakness. It's actually something that needs to be strengthened. And so since it's not your weakness, the ways to overcome it is create space to calm down. The breathing exercise that I teach you. The 4-6, what is it? The 4-2-6. The 4-7-8. I've been teaching these breathing exercises. We're going to do an exercise so you guys can know how it is. You breathe in 4, take a deep breath in your nose 4. Hold it for 2 seconds, blow it out for 6. Because what you want to do is recenter your mind and self-regulate. You're self-regulating your emotions. Or you can acknowledge feelings without judging. Acknowledge your feelings without judging yourself. Acknowledge the fact that, okay, I do feel this way. I don't like the way this feels. I don't like how, this happened. I don't like it. So acknowledge it, but don't judge yourself. Don't make yourself feel like you did something bad. Don't allow shame and guilt. When you're healing, let me tell you how the enemy come through. The enemy likes to come through like this. Oh, you healing? Okay. Now that you healed that, now what I want you to do is you decide to heal, you identified that pain point. Now I need to attach shame and guilt to that. That's how the enemy creep up. When you're healing, the things that you think about and you're trying to heal, he'll have you attach shame and guilt to it, embarrassment. So therefore, you're like, okay, I don't want to touch that. Because you'll always leave that door open for him. Do you understand? When you start to heal, you close doors. But if he can attach just a piece of him to it, then it leaves a door open for him to enter. Now, or you can try a way to overcome your, to not look at your pain point as weaknesses, how to overcome that. You can process the root cause. Now, we talked about the root cause. The root cause is where did it stem from? Processing. Most of the issues that you have in life started from your childhood trauma. And with that childhood trauma, it caused you to believe a lie. It caused you to process a lie as the truth. And now as an adult, I need you to go back to that and speak to that thing like, okay, yeah, they did not show up to my birthday party. My father didn't show up to my birthday party. But as a child, because I was 6 years old, I processed it as he didn't love me. As an adult, let's go back to that. Let's look at that may not have been the issue. Let's give him grace because grace helps you heal. He didn't show up to your birthday party because he didn't see the man in himself. He felt the guilt and shame of himself. It had nothing to do with you. It had everything to do with him. Do you understand? Maybe his car didn't work. Or maybe he was on drugs and, he was high. I don't know what it was. Maybe he was drinking too much. Whatever it was, is not because he didn't love you. It's just that he let circumstances and self get in the way of the relationship that was supposed to be father-daughter, or son and father. Or you can journal. You can journal, get therapy, or refrain from the negative thoughts. Now, the thing with the negative thoughts, refraining from the negative thoughts, that I want you to understand, when you refrain from a negative thought, it stops your healing process. And I'm going to tell you why. Because most people, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind, then you won't deal with it and you won't come back to it. You won't try and heal from it. You won't try and do anything. You're just going to leave it as that. You're like, nope, done. I ain't thinking about it. That's the door that the enemy can come in and say, yeah, I need to come in here and disrupt this right now. I need to come in here. This is my chance to come in here and disrupt. Because you left the door open, because you didn't face it. You just refrained from thinking about it. So now he can attach to it. So the next time you think about it or that issue come up, now shame is attached to it. Anger is attached to it. You see, the enemy constantly attach things to it. So we want to do away with that. And so in the moment, you can refrain from thinking about it, but don't just do away with it. I want you to come back to it, and I want you to face it. And if you can't face it alone, it's too intense, then you need therapy. Get you a therapist that can help you face that challenge, because the longer you keep putting it away, the more it's going to pile up. And what I mean by pile up is the more the enemy is going to attach more emotions, negative emotions to it. Okay? That is the pain points. Understanding that it is not your weakness. Now let's jump into the difference between reaction versus response, because this is where y'all keep getting it mixed up at. This is where y'all get it mixed up at. A lot of people think like, if I don't respond, I'm not saying nothing. That's the best respond, to not respond. Or I'm going to react, but I'm not going to react the way they want me to react. So let's look at the difference between reaction and response. Because when you look at the definition of things, this is what I teach you. Look at the true definition of things, and it'll help you understand things a whole lot better. Reaction. Reaction is an immediate, automatic emotion. It is an emotion that's often thoughtless, right? It's often a thoughtless action, period. It is an immediate, automatic, emotional, and often thoughtless action, which is considered quick survival mode. Something quick to get you through the moment. It's impulsive. It can fuel conflict. It's reaction, right? Response is proaction. And then reaction is just what it is, a reaction. It's immediate. So it doesn't matter if, okay, they said something and you reacted, but you didn't react the way they wanted you to react. You just said it differently, or you didn't curse them out, but you still did something nasty. You did something off of emotions because you didn't take the time to pause and think about it. Now, a response is proaction. It is intentional and thoughtful. It gives a deliberate pause to thinking, a rational, value-driven, and conscience. That's what it is. It's conscience. It's very rational. It's value-driven. It's kind of like my response is, this is the thing with a response. My response, that means I'm going to take the time out of my busy schedule, my energy to give to you. So it's going to be valuable because my time is valuable. So how I respond means everything. I'm not going to react. I'm going to respond. Let me give you an example. Reaction. Y'all know when y'all in the club now. In the club. Someone bumps you and you immediately push them back out of anger. Immediately. They bump you and you. That's your reaction. But a response. If you're healing, I want you to respond, not react. Because respond, someone bumps you, you pause, you observe, you see what's going on. Because anything can be happening. You don't hurry up, react. You pause and you look around like, okay. And you calmly say something. Meaning that maybe they bumped into you. Maybe they followed. Are you okay? But I need you to observe what's going on. And calmly say something. If you need to say something, or just calmly step to the side. See, stepping out of that person's way, right? You're showing empathy. You're showing empathy because maybe they're stressed out. Maybe they're nervous. Maybe they got a lot going on. Maybe they just didn't see you. But you move out of the way because you're showing empathy. Now, how do you respond when that person that bumped you is being nasty? Well, Nina, here we go. How do you respond to a person that was being nasty to you and you want to react the same way they just reacted? Well, you respond the same way because you're healing and healed and healing. Meaning that you're only going to see, as a healed individual, you see empathy at all times. You don't sympathize with anyone no more. You learn to empathize with everyone with boundaries. So you angrily bump into me or nastily bump into me. You don't say, excuse me. You don't say anything. I'm still going to respond. I'm still not going to react. Because when you heal and you realize it has nothing to do with them and everything to do with the enemy. The enemy is just trying to provoke you because now, are you who you say you are? Are you really this healed person? Are you? Oh, okay. Okay. Let's try it. So then they send this aggressive person to you to bump you. I want you to still calmly. Matter of fact, you ain't even got to get that person eye contact because you already felt their energy before they even bumped into you. You don't even have to give them eye contact. You just go ahead and move out the way because I tell you what, they won't follow you. They will not get in choke me distance, baby. After they do that bump, they're going to get out of choke me distance because they don't know how you will respond. Trust and believe that the enemy will step out the way. But you just calmly go on about your business because you understand that it's not them. It's the enemy that's coming for you. So that is the difference between reaction and response. So which one do you choose? I'm hoping that you choose respond because we're healing over here. I'm teaching you how to heal, right? So leaders must understand triggers to lead well. You're welcome. As a leader, and that's what my leadership program is about, is me teaching you how to become a leader. I don't just have followers. I don't want people just following me. I want to develop you to be a leader just like I am. I want to develop you to be the best version of yourself just like I am. That's why I'm doing these classes. So leaders must understand triggers to lead well. Identifying your teammates or individual triggers will help you guide them and lead them correctly. Right? Leaders must understand triggers to lead well. So as I always say, as a leader, you can have a team, but you can't talk to the whole team the same way. You can't talk to this individual the same way that you talk to that individual. Okay? You have to learn the technique of being able to relay the same message, but for everyone's understanding. Now, at times, you don't have time for that. At times, you ain't got time for that. Put the message out, and this is what it needs to be. But when you get the time, I need you to go address to each one to make sure clarity that they understand it at their level. So if I can identify your triggers, right? The things that tick you off, then why would I talk to you? I may be able to cuss and talk to this one this way, but a trigger of yours is cursing. I can't expect you to get clarity and go on about your way. That's a trigger for you, which is going to cause you to either react or respond. And a lot of managers, leaders do that. They trigger someone, and then when that employee or that person responds, then they pull I'm the manager, you're being insubordinate, you're being this, but they don't take accountability for what they did. You can't talk to me crazy. I'm a grown woman. I'm a grown man. You're going to respect me. Now you're going to learn my language. And that's what a good leader would learn, their languages. And even with the leader, I have triggers. So I have to be able to know when I'm triggered to be able to step away. As a leader, you have to know your triggers, and you have to know the people that you are leading triggers. So for me, God told me to stop cursing. And I'm like, yo, I like cussing. It's been a part of me. Listen, it's been a part of me. I was a tomboy. I grew up that way. I was in the military. This is what I talk. I'm that auntie that just be cussing for no reason. Nothing makes sense. Just say a bunch of cuss words. They don't make sense. And then the nieces and nephews look at you like, wait, man, what she just said? I don't know. It's funny though. Let's go. That was me. However, God said that I needed to stop cussing. In order to be a great leader, you have to be a great follower, right? So in order to lead, I have to be a follower. So if God told me to do something, I have to follow. And it's the reason why he said that is because the message that I'm putting out, they're going to get the message, but some people just don't like cursing. And I want this message to get out because I asked God, I told him I want to be the one that saved the world. Well, he allowed me to do that. But in the way to do that, he had to teach me something. You have to change the way you speak, right? It's not about being fake when I get off of here and then I start cussing again. Sometimes I do. But it's about changing my lifestyle. So it doesn't matter where I meet someone at. I'm still in this moment, right? I'm not being a cursor. So that's the thing about leadership. I have to know my triggers. And then for me as a leader, knowing my triggers, I create boundaries. I understand and know what my triggers are. And I have the gray areas now. I created gray areas. I talk about that in my book. And with those gray areas, those are my boundaries, meaning when I feel like someone is trying to trigger me, once I get this feeling, then I know that, hey, it's time for me to disconnect. And I disconnect and I step away from what's going on. I step away and I have to breathe because I am who I say I am. I am not who they think I am, but I am who I say I am. I am who God told me I am. So that is leaders must understand triggers to lead well. Now, I'm about to give y'all a little something. This is I told you we touch on cognitive behavioral therapy. We touch a piece of that, right? Just a piece of it. Because I need you to understand some things. It's not a full therapy session or anything like that. I'm not a therapist. I am not a therapist. And I keep telling y'all that. I am the coach that's going to save the world through life coaching and teaching, counseling, guidance. Now, those I am. So, this is what I need you to understand with the CBT. I want you to identify. This is how I want you to write it down. I'm going to write it on the board. I want you to write the word identify. Next to it, I want you to make an arrow. And then next to that, I want you to put trace the thought. Then next to that, put an arrow. Then next to that, understand the root. Because that's how it flows. It flows just like that. You identify, which is acknowledge, knowing what the problem is. You trace the thought, understanding where it started from, right? And then understanding the root is understanding the why. Why did this happen? You went tracing the thought. Where did it start from? My childhood. I felt abandoned. Understanding the why. Why did I feel abandoned? Because I was always left alone here, here, here. That's why, because this will identify why do you feel that you need to go into chasing mode after a relationship? Why do you feel so broken that you need that person in a relationship? Like, oh, that relationship is over. I need that person. And you need that person because of the fact of abandonment issues. So now the problem is I have the relationship failed and I feel I need him or her. Now chase the thought. Understand where it started from, abandonment issues. Why? Because I felt alone. So now this is why you chase people. This is how you heal. This is how you get to the root of the problem to get back to what you identify so you can properly heal it. So now how do you properly heal it? You speak to it, meaning that you speak it to it and you're going to say, okay, when I was a child, I felt that I was abandoned and they didn't love me. That was not true. Speak your truth to it. That's how you process it as a child. But what you process is what they projected on you, or what you seen as a child that you understood at that capacity is that, hey, if no one's here with me, that means that they don't love me. Now let's look at the situation. Does that really mean that? And you have to be honest with it. No, it doesn't mean that. Now let's take it back. So I don't need this person. And now I want you to look at all the reasons of why it is probably a great idea that they left. They're not in your life. When you start to heal, you uncover things. And that's why I say self-healing. I teach you how to self-love. I teach you how to go within, right? And understand your triggers, self-discovery, self-awareness, self-regulation. I teach you those things. But everything can't be done by itself. Everything can't be seen by itself. Sometimes, most times, the most intense things in life, you need a therapist. A lot of people get life coaching and therapists mixed up. Life coaching and therapists is just right here with each other, but they do not cross. Do you understand? They do not cross. Therapists focus on the past, right? Then to get you to your future, right? To your present time. And they don't too much touch on the future. They trying to fix you in the now. Life coaching deals with the present, right? To help you organize and create for the future. Life coaching doesn't touch on the past because there's no reason for us to be there because we're not clinically licensed to be there. However, it's some things in life coaching that you can tap on, like what I'm doing right now is teaching you how to tie the right emotion to the right thing. Meaning, what was that childhood trauma that happened to you? What was it that made you feel this way as an adult? It gives you that critical thinking, helps you with the critical thinking. Like I said, everything can't be uncovered, right, by self. You need a therapist. So I'll have that number. Once I upload it on YouTube, I'll have that number inside this video. So we got that out of the way. Here's y'all homework. Y'all ready? You're going to list 3 situations that trigger you and why. 3 situations that trigger you and why. And then we're going to do our declaration. I am in control of my emotions. My triggers do not define me. They guide me. I lead myself with maturity, grace, and emotional strength. Now we're going to say it together, like a pledge of allegiance. Listen, let's go. I am in control of my emotions. My triggers do not define me. I lead myself with maturity, grace, and emotional strength.